Welcome to Cinema 5D on the Couch, the talk show with filmmakers and industry leaders. Brought to you by G Technology, Røde Microphones, Movidiam, Red Shark, Film Convert, and F&V.
So, Ryan, we talked a little bit about how audio is neglected on shoots sometimes by cameramen. Yeah. So what is Røde doing to tackle that problem? Because I think you are one of the few audio gear manufacturers, microphone manufacturers who are actually very close to the filmmaker industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for us, it's this whole explosion of, cameras becoming so much cheaper, more accessible for people to get into the market has been, such a good opportunity to give people more accessible audio. I think we identified that it's a big challenge for a lot of people who you start out, with this amazing image and you've got like this film that's coming together really well, and then you realize that without audio, it's completely unwatchable. Like often you can suffer through watching bad picture as long as you can hear it properly. But as soon as you've got, the greatest picture in the world with bad audio, you find that people just have to download a track and put it on just to cover it all up so that you don't hear it. It's the same thing you find with almost every GoPro video that you'll see. Having the microphone encased in a totally sealed case, you can't really listen to the audio. So it's like, put on a cool song and that's it. That's what you go for. So, for us, we've spent a lot of time recently bringing out a lot of products to make it a lot easier. For instance, like the Smart Lav, which is a product that you can plug directly into, a smartphone. So say you're recording a bunch of different tracks, you need to hide all of your microphones, you can actually hide them away, run them directly into the phone, the technology you got in your pocket already. And that whole market of making it more accessible, we've been working on. But at the same time, we haven't neglected the pro end. And, to that end, we've just released at IBC pretty much our coolest video mic ever. It's the Stereo Video Mic X. I've got one.
What a coincidence.
Here, yes.
Oh my God.
I'll pull that out of my magic pocket. But, so this is the kind of thing that we're really working on. We want to innovate in this space, have things that just make it easier. Stereo Video Mic X. This is a entire aluminium case mic. We've, recognized that a lot of guys are run and gun, kind of packing everything away and chucking it in the bag. So, having capsule level suspension has been a thing that we're kind of working on. And it's really just kind of pairing up with that camera market. We've identified, the need to, initially when we come out with the Video Mic Pro with the plus 20 dB setting, basically, the main challenge that we noticed with a lot of DSLR filmmakers, which was, I guess, the explosion of this whole, more accessible aspect of filmmaking, was that you've got noisy preamps in the camera and people didn't know what to do about that. You kind of set your gain to auto and you leave it and you go, okay, well, let's hope that the audio is fine. And what additional features like this give you is the opportunity to turn down the noise in the preamp and let the microphone kind of do it for you in a way. It should be, kind of common knowledge out there, hopefully by now, that audio gain should always be turned off when you're filmmaking.
So a lot of filmmakers starting out just have one microphone and use that for everything.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit, when would I use something like this as opposed to a shotgun microphone?
Okay, yeah. So, I think one of the challenges that I notice with a lot of people that are starting out with audio is learning audio perspective. It's not all about, often the best way to get your audio better quicker is to get the microphone nice and close. So, for instance, in a situation like this, we've got a headset microphone that's nice and close so that you've got good isolation from the room. In a situation with a stereo microphone, this is where you want immersive sound. So, where you would have a mono shotgun if you're, recording a piece to camera, for instance, that's all about cutting out everything except for what you want to pick up. When you're talking about a stereo microphone, you're talking about immersing the viewer in a place, in a situation. So you're talking about, nature, music, even if you're talking about something like IBC, people walking around with the stereo mic, they're going to get a nice kind of atmosphere of where you are, and it's going to place you in the space, whereas say in big budget films where you've got a bunch of different sound guys and then you've got this massive budget for afterwards, you can put together, all this post-production and sound and make it really immerse the audience. It's not that easy when you're a single kind of guy that has to do audio and film all at the same time and try to get it all together. So, I mean, the ideal scenario would always be if you had the opportunity to run a mono and a stereo, so that you've got that Atmos that you're picking up, and you've also got the direct sound that you want to pick up. So, I mean, that's the main reason why you would go for a stereo over a mono. And then I guess it's the thing that a lot of people need to learn is and you notice it a lot on people that are just starting out, it's the perspective. So, I mean, if you've got a mid shot or a wide shot, you don't want super close sounding audio, because it's just going to look unnatural to the viewer. And likewise, if you've got a tight shot and then you're hearing nothing but room sound, it just doesn't gel, and there's something about it that the viewer's watching and they just feel uncomfortable because it doesn't feel natural, So one of the things I'm trying to pass on now is that whole, it is okay to, obviously you want to have your microphones as close to just out of frame as possible, whether it's a shotgun mic. I mean, that's, I guess, the whole purpose of, say, a lav mic, is where you are shooting a wide frame that you're going to be bringing in, or someone walking around the corner, and you want to still have that nice, kind of close enough sound. Often you're kind of about 6 to 8 inches away from the mouth, so you're still going to pick up a bit of the room. They're an omnidirectional microphone. And that is kind of the sweet spot for a lot of situations. But yeah, that's, if there's one bit of advice I could give it, it's working on sound perspective to make sure that your sound matches the picture that you're trying to pick up. And that's where you need to find the tools to be able to do that. So whether it's, lav mics, whether it's a stereo microphone, a mono microphone, it needs to match what you're trying to actually film.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the biggest differentiator these days now between, let's say a high budget commercial and a really good filmmaker who, shoots pretty images and puts something on Vimeo is very often the sound now, because, visuals have gotten so much better. Also, people in post-production better. Even, amateurs trying stuff and getting better and making this in the business at some point. But the audio is still being neglected, because usually, the visual people don't talk so much to the audio people if it's just a fun project, I guess. Or don't, maybe you have a sound guy on the job, but maybe there's only this.
The first thing, it's the hardest battle whenever you are pitching for a job and you're pricing up a job, is the sound man. It's always down there, and you have to fight, and often you just can't get one, and you can't emphasize how important enough it is. And yes, you can do it on your own to a degree, but only to a certain level. It's a compromise. Definitely. And audio should never be compromised to that degree. So, I mean, you know what it's like. We're always fighting for that. And the difference between a project that has a sound man and doesn't have a sound man, it's night and day. It really is.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an extra stress on top of, trying to make sure that everything's ready. And I think a lot of people kind of forget to even check their audio levels before they start recording. I mean, it's like you wouldn't start, filming without actually checking that you're, within your histogram or anything like that.
Is it plugged in?
Exactly.
You just mistakes, and it's because there's too much to think about. You're doing everything else.
I think often it's a client education thing as well. They just never get that the sound is so abrasive if it's wrong.
Yeah.
And filmmakers understand that, but the clients and businesses need to be encouraged, and need a communication. There needs to be a communication exercise to say, look, actually, don't let your stuff go into the visuals.
Yeah,
just solely.
Well, that's the problem. Is it is education, and you find with audio compared to if you shoot beautiful pictures, they'll say, "Oh my God, you shot beautiful pictures."
Yeah.
But so many clients, people you work with, if you give them fantastic sound, they very rarely will go, "Oh my God, your audio was brilliant." It will be so good. It's transparent.
It's very subtle,
and that's exactly right. I mean,
it should be transparent.
Best side of great audio is that you haven't even noticed it yet. Audio should bring you into the picture and bring you into the
hard thing
story.
to point out.
And that's a problem for audio guys, as sound people in general, because if you see a great production where a lot relies on very good audio post-production or production work, and you're just like, wow, it's very often the audio, but if amateurs or average audience don't even notice how much they are influenced, especially on the emotional level. It's the audio is much more important than the image. I mean, we all know that through the music in films, right?
Yeah,
but that's only one part of it,
and that's just setting the mood. And then you've got the actual the pickup of the voices and everything. It's got to look natural. It's got to feel like you're there. And I mean, that's, I guess, the hard thing if you're a sound guy. Fair enough, if you're in the sound design space, you're making these awesome, spaceship sounds and all that kind of thing. That's the obvious stuff, watch Transformers and you're like, whoa, like listen to all of this. But how do you, as a sound guy, go check out this movie? You'll barely even notice my audio. It's so good. You know,
Yeah,
like,
you'll be told off when it's bad.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And when it's good, you won't hear anything because it's just you.
Yeah.
you've done your job
and that's-
exactly how you should.
Yeah,
It's
but
the whole
the-
thing.
it's usually the director, cameraman who gets the credit then
Yeah.
for the
Which is fine
the great
sometimes.
film.
I don't mind it. That's somebody else's work. I mean, it's, sound men. They don't always need to have credits down.
I
do
mean,
they?
when we were making the films for Movidiam, and I'm a little bit further away from the actual technical rock face, but we were looking at these films, and I thought, God, they feel ready now. They're finished now. And it was the sound that was changing,
Yeah.
and that was so key. And it was a guy called Alejandro from Flow Audio in Barcelona. I mean, he's a complete genius, and he would just keep telling me that this thing isn't finished, this thing isn't finished, this thing isn't finished. I was like, yeah, I'm sure it's nearly finished. I'm sure it's nearly finished. And then I watched it, and I was like, okay, this is finished. What have you done? And he goes, oh, okay.
Yeah,
you
here we go.
understand.
Now you
You
get it,
understand
yeah.
sound subconsciously, but you don't really kind of get it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. That's the skill.
Yeah, it's definitely the less sexy side of filmmaking. The beautiful image is immediately obvious to everybody when you see something that's really well shot. But yeah, it's sound, unfortunately, is still a little bit of an afterthought, as is evidenced by a lot of the manufacturers, like cameras that come out such good images, and the audio is still an afterthought. It's this tiny little chip in the corner of the camera that's picking up noise. I think eventually everyone's going to have to come around and start offering better audio options, because people are starting to realize early on, even making YouTube videos, that you're not going to be able to make the cut unless you've got better sound to be able to go with it. So.
You could make you could have an influence there. You just require some person with every project posted on Movidiam. Otherwise, you cannot just it's not allowed.
That's going to be really, really, really positive for the filmmakers. But I'm sure that it's the clients that's the challenge. It's the clients. It's an education piece. I totally agree with you. But no, maybe we should build a lot around that in the community side of the site and talk about the importance of it, because
Thanks for watching this segment of Cinema 5D on the Couch. Also thanks to our dear sponsors G Technology, Røde Microphones, Film Convert, FNV and Movidiam.com. And please do join us for the next episode in this series.